Yeah, so what we'll do today, I'll ask some questions, start to give some advice, some explanations around marketing, how that impacts you guys, and then we can also have some question time at the end. How's that sound? All good? All right, perfect. So maybe I'll start with Merson. So as a core offering as a care centre, tell me what it is that you guys are trying to achieve for your residents.
The best possible care and best possible outcomes that residents need according to their individualized needs.
Yep.
And just basically to provide a working place that's harmonious and exciting for staff to even come to. So
yep.
At the end of the day, if the staff are happy, residents are happy, everyone's happy.
Yeah, okay.
We still want to make sure that we're very closely knit with the community, so we're not exclusive. It's not the facility and the community as separate entities.
Yep.
It's pretty much bringing the facility and the community together and maintaining that cohesiveness.
Yeah, okay. So if we look at that connection with the community, because that would be really important given how many other care centres there are in the surrounding areas, right? So Sharon, from your perspective, how do you connect with the community? What are some of the things you've got in place maybe to create that partnership or that connection with the community?
Majority is coming from the church.
Okay.
And word of mouth.
Yep.
Social worker with the local hospital here.
Okay.
Bankstown Hospital.
Yep.
Which will be the
Yeah, okay. And then, so what does that actual interaction look like? Is it, just having a relationship? Is it putting in phone calls? Is it then them coming to open days? What does that tangibly look like?
Sharon has attended the, hospitals, talking to
social worker.
Okay. Yeah.
George has made contact with some of the GPs, the local businesses.
Yep.
And that sort of thing.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So if we talk about what some of those conversations look like, or some of the graphic design bits and pieces that you create, right? So when we talk about marketing and its foundations and its fundamentals, we always talk about positioning. So what do I mean by that? I mean positioning this care centre in the minds of the hospitals, the church, in their minds, that is different to the other care centres in the surrounds. How many other care centres are there in the surrounding and extended suburbs, roughly? How many?
About 70, 80.
Right. So
Most of which are actually closing because past the use-by date.
Yeah, okay.
Not a lot of them are compliant by way of building.
Our hospitals, everyone that we're dealing with, that is different to those other care centres. I'm sure some of them are still going to stay open, right? So marketing is a battle of that mind. So thinking in people's heads, why is St. Nicholas different to the other ones? Because maybe they're also having conversations as well, right? Obviously yours is a brand spanking new facility, which is always going to be an exciting talking point. So when you guys have those conversations, what are some of the things, those kind of key elements that you talk about this care centre that is different to the others? Who wants to go?
So I guess the other point of difference is actually that we are an Antiochian Orthodox faith-based facility, but not exclusive to the Antiochian faith.
Sure.
So we still obviously do accept and care for people of all different faiths, all different cultures and backgrounds. But in terms of the community, and it's actually built around that concept.
Sure. Yep.
So
that's right. Get it if you need to.
For example, there's a chapel. There's an Orthodox chapel in the actual building.
Yep.
I think that's distinguishing from other.
Yeah, okay.
That's pretty unique. I don't know many facilities that have an Orthodox chapel.
Okay. And so when we're having those conversations, like for you perspective, so who is it that you're engaging with in the community, George?
So with my current role, my engagement is more within the organization.
Okay.
With my staff, with other stakeholders. Of course, I have interactions with external stakeholders like government bodies or the Aged Care Commission.
Yep.
But more interactions are within our organization, with my managers, also with my staff members who actually require educational reorientation or training.
Sure.
Also analyzing if the care we're providing is well aligned with the standards the government has put forward.
Sure.
So
I heard you got a visit yesterday, did you?
yes.
Yeah, that all went well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, so it went very well. See, I think what distinguishes us from the other organizations around the area is we have a very great leadership team. All of our leadership, all our managers are actually registered nurses.
Okay.
So they have
They're what, sorry?
registered nurses.
Okay,
They're
gotcha.
clinicians,
Yep.
Which really set us apart from other homes in the area.
Yep. Okay.
I think with the engaging with the community as well, I have been in contact with Southeast Sydney local area health districts.
Yep.
So I have this fortnightly huddles with all the local health district, the PHU, all the residential aged care facilities who joins that group. So
Okay.
I have this fortnightly like meet and greet with them.
Yep.
Where they talks about like what's happening in the community, and then I did also when I spoke to them, I did introduce myself and our facility with them.
Perfect.
Yes, and also talking with the local libraries, just telling them know about what our facility is here and
Yep.
just how many beds we have and the residents we are expecting. Just getting that a little bit of touch with the community.
Yeah.
Awareness.
Awareness. So if we talk, imagine we're all talking to external and internal stakeholders. We're doing design elements. Do you want to come through, Sharon? You're right. We're doing design elements. So the key about marketing is that you are consistent in that message. So for me, there's 4 things that make marketing successful for a business. 1, defining really what that key message and that key positioning is. That's the first one. Second is then communicating that point of difference like the same all the time, so the message is always the same. The third point is then being consistent and using that message regularly. So whether it's on social, whether it's on the flyers that's being used, or whatever it might be, using it regularly. And the fourth is doing it more than the competition, right? Because they may or may not be communicating what their point of difference is, but if you're doing it more than them, it's those 4 key elements that are important as an organisation. So if we talk about that second one around being consistent, what I want you guys to have a think about is, because you're all having conversations or we're doing some type of design or collateral or whatever, I want you guys to make sure that you're all using the same messages when you're communicating. So maybe there's one key message, right? So on another website, the website talks about your partner in something like, your partner in excellence in care. So I think that's really key, and that's a good positioning. And then what are some of those key messages under that you're all saying? So are we talking about the chapel? Are we talking about that our staff have got a leadership team have got a level of standard? There might be 3 or 4 different things that when you're all having conversations with external or when we're designing things, that all those messages are always the same. So that when people see you, or they have a conversation with you, or they see you on your website, or they see a brochure that's been created, those messages are always the same.
Like what I said to the commissioners today, when we designed our menu, when we thought about what we need to serve for people, food-wise, we always checked with the community. We went around, invited the people in the local area to come in and tell us about what is the Middle East food like.
Yeah.
What do they think we should serve here for our aged residents?
Yeah.
So we always ensure we are consulting with the local community.
Love it.
So at the end of the day, this is for them, and they're going to live here at some stage of their life.
Yep.
So they need to tell us what they want to eat.
Yep.
So, and Commission really loved it. But when they heard that we invited
Well, we
lots
also
of
make
people,
the same language, to say the same thing as well, to different time, independent interview.
yeah,
So the fact that it's being said in one number of different times, means that it's happening.
Yeah.
it is, yeah.
Because you can say something and it can be, some thought, maybe not really action, but the fact that it's out there.
Absolutely, and people who came for that menu workshop,
Yeah.
They all loved it. They said this is our first experience because there are other aged cares in the area within the 1 or 2 kilometers area, but they never had an experience of going there and telling them what they think should be in the
That's
menu.
so cool. Great engagement.
Yeah, so that is I think our first engagement meeting with the community, and that really gives a lot of awareness that we care and we really care what they want to see happening here.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
That's perfect. And so if we go back to those kind of that key message, the excellence, the partner in excellence, that's the key message. And I think if we can all use that language in a way that suits you when you're talking to people, not everyone, you're not going to just use that line because that's not, sometimes you can't verbally say that, but if you can use it in your own language and then think about what are the 4 or 5 key sub-messages that make you different, tangibly, the chapel, the food, the community engagement, whatever it might be, the new facility, so that when you're having those conversations, you're all saying the same thing. Does that make sense?
Well, we're also conscious of the fact that we're not just marketing to potential residents, we're marketing to staff as well.
Yeah.
So we're looking at retention, we're looking at attracting staff, new staff. And I guess for us, that's, like I said at the beginning, it's having the both of those two bodies or entities, you know, harmoniously coexisting in the same space.
Yeah.
The staff spend an awful lot of time at work and residents live here.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, we're coming into their home, their space, and so we have to be respectful of that.
Yep.
But at the same time, we've got to create an environment that staff are happy to work in.
For sure. And I think if they, like everyone wants to work for a good organisation, right? So if you're positioning yourself as that, as that partner in excellence, then if they believe that that's, and they're seeing that message over and over again, whether it's on your website, on your social media, on your brochures, and they're seeing that, then they're thinking, okay, this sounds like a reputable organisation, a care centre that I actually want to work for, not a dodgy one that's been there for 30 years, that is it really going to be a good environment to work in? Everyone wants to come and work in new offices and new facilities, and right?
Michael, our positioning statement is partner in exceptional aged care.
Yep. Yep.
Excellence.
Oh, sorry.
Exceptional aged care.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Did you want to say something?
Exceptional aged care, right? Exceptional aged care. Your partner in exceptional aged care.
All right.
Yeah, that's a key. Staff happy, persons will be automatically happy. If staff are not happy, persons will become grumpy because they're not getting what they really need to.
Absolutely. So if we talk about some of the goals of what we want to achieve over the next 6 months, what do some of those look like? Maybe Sharon, you maybe talk about some of those.
Our goals in the next 6 months, it will be fully occupied.
Yeah.
But that's a bit...
Yeah, and do we think that's realistic?
I think it's certainly possible.
6 months is good.
It's certainly possible.
There's a possibility.
What could get in the way from stop you from achieving those, do you think?
I think the Christmas period, normally a bit, family tends to sort of hold.
Yep.
They want to spend Christmas with mom or dad
Sure.
at home. They hold until, the Christmas time finish
Yep.
and then start with the
People
new.
travel as well.
And
Yeah.
people traveling and things.
Micheline, you were going to say something?
I think also it needs more attention. Like we need more people.
Yeah, more awareness.
Yeah,
More awareness. Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yep.
Community education and understanding
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Because I think more people hear about this place, they really love it.
So marketing. Yeah. Yeah.
Traditionally,
Word of mouth.
Yeah.
part of the marketing strategy also is for people to understand or to have sessions where people understand the finance behind it.
Yep.
Because people always want to know, so what does it cost?
Mm.
And they don't understand the cost associated with it and how it actually can benefit them still.
For sure.
It's not, if you pay what's called a refundable accommodation deposit, it's refundable.
Right.
I guess somehow we need to make that refundable word a bit louder, highlighted, a bit more neon, if you will, so that people understand is you get the money back. You get 100% of that money back.
Okay.
So if you pay $2 million as a wild number,
Yep.
$200,000,
Yep.
you get that money back.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
There's
So then, go on.
Also, I just want to mention is in our community there's a stigma towards aged care.
Yep.
And if they don't understand that can become a necessity to save someone's life.
Sure.
Because for them they will never be able to care for someone, but
Yep.
they won't be open to it because of the stigma in our Arabic community.
So when you say, I've got a Greek background, so similar, right? So they don't want to put, and I went through this with my grandparents, you don't want to put, you have this hesitation, and if this is what you're talking about, hesitation to put them into a nursing home because you feel there's a bit of guilt around it and all those things, right? So it's educating them around what is the alternative, right? And the alternative is not a good alternative for anybody, for the carer or for the resident, right? So maybe that's part of some of that communication.
Attention to the good side.
So all of those discussions I had when Sharon meets with families or when I meet with families.
Sure.
And certainly that message is consistent in that regard is that if it's not safe for the person to be at home, can't receive 24/7 care without impacting anyone else's life at home, and that's where residential aged care comes in. So
Absolutely.
of course you can have community nurse come into your home, but can you get the 24 hours?
Exactly. They come in for a couple of hours, leave, come back in a couple of hours. It's not the same. Yeah.
And no activity, no friends around them.
And it may not be the same person as well, and all of that stuff. And the person gets agitated, and I saw it all with my grandparents. So
and the children need to work.
Yeah.
And then have their own life, their own family.
Absolutely. So if we come back to the obstacles, right? So you spoke a lot about kind of that awareness piece. So what is it? So then if we relate that back to the third bit that I mentioned about, not only do we have a positioning, not only do we use that positioning, the same message over and over again, but the third one is that consistency and doing it a lot and over again. So what are some of the things that you may have thought of, maybe even conversation with Lauren, I don't know, but things that you think that you can do to push that awareness? Micheline, maybe I'll go with you first.
I think it has to be word of mouth for the community because that's where the issue starts, is in word of mouth. So I think that's how you need to kind of fix it. And
how do you generate that though? Like, why would someone talk about you guys? How do you generate that?
So we've also communicated with the different churches, different parishes, and the priests.
Yep.
For them to, I guess, spread the word.
Because we look up to our priests a lot, and we really, their opinion is probably the most valued.
Absolutely.
So we really trust their word. So if they are telling everybody.
So, like I said before, this facility or this aged care service was brought into existence to cater for or to provide a familiar environment for the Arabic community or Middle Eastern community.
Yep.
And everything else in between. So, with that in mind, I guess that's what the target audience is, if you will.
Yep.
I mean, you get Greek Orthodox, of course, Antiochian Orthodox, and you get Chinese specific facilities, Korean, all these different ethnic-based specific communities.
Yep.
Because people, as they start to age, a lot of the time look for familiarity.
Absolutely.
And they're more comfortable in that.
Yep.
And if we can create that environment where people are comfortable, then they're more likely to accept coming into care and receiving that care that they actually need, but may not be able to access out in the community for all sorts of reasons. And not to say that we had a stopgap for everything, but it's certainly a very high-end, I would consider first option. Second to being at home.
Sure.
But of course, we've got to make sure that the community understand that it's not about abandoning your loved one, or it's about selling the home and giving the money away to the church. It's not about the church. It's a separate entity. We're separate from the church. We actually have business that exists independent of the church.
Sure.
So,
And when we open up, I think when we start getting residents in and families see what a great experience they're having, that is going to help word of mouth so much. Because people all are very interconnected in our community.
Absolutely.
Yesterday I saw it. One client walked out and another one was walking in. They knew each other. They got excited.
Yeah.
Is that a coincidence?
It's not.
We're so welcome.
Middle Eastern community are very, very closely tied.
Yeah.
They know each other very
there will
well.
also be people like Marina, who does some marketing outside of it.
Yes, yeah, just a little bit of marketing, just getting in touch with.
Home care.
Home care.
Yep.
Home cares, and I think we also went to this one of this aged care reports in Castleview where we got to meet other residential aged care facility managers and invite them.
Sure.
So they did come here and have a look at our facility.
Yeah, okay.
As well, and Sharon gave the information pack to them because I think they also get some of the Lebanese background residents.
Yeah, good.
So they can refer it to us.
Yeah. Do you? So you spoke about word of mouth and the priests, right? So beyond the priests, because you don't want to be just solely reliant on that, right?
Yeah.
Because you want communication to back up what the priests are saying, so that they don't just hear it from the priest, even though that's a big, like a important factor. They then see it or read it or hear it somewhere else, right? So
I want to put a big, hopefully when we open up, we can put a big focus on family testimonies.
Yep.
Especially if they're familiar faces.
Feedback.
Yeah.
Family feedback,
On our
reviews,
On the
Yeah.
website.
on everything.
You know.
Going back to the priests, we have given the priests flyers and pamphlets,
Yep.
QR coding,
Yep.
that they can actually access the website on, but also it actually has Sharon's contact details or email address. To
Yes.
send through inquiries and to get in contact with the facility.
Yep.
Just to talk about options and possibilities and have a look at the facilities coming for a tour.
Yep.
We have had several open days as well
Yep.
in the last 3 months.
And when we have a volunteer program, people from the churches will come and volunteer.
Yeah, love
And
it.
they're going to be people who have grandparents that are going to want to come here. So we've got youth that already are asking me if they can volunteer. Like my own committee at church wants to do it.
Yep.
We've got a Feeding the Homeless group that will want to probably come and do something.
Yep.
And I think we've got like ladies committees and just a mix of different committees that will come from the church. And if we have an open volunteer program, it doesn't have to be just Antioch and
No,
Orthodox.
definitely.
We can open it to anybody. So that will be a good word of mouth way. 'Cause
Yeah,
they'll
love
see
it.
They'll see it
There's also the
themselves.
community volunteers scheme as well, which we'll tap into and obviously we'll get involved.
So I've just written down, as you guys were all talking, outside of all the conversations that you're having with the community, I've written down emails or electronic emails to go out as a database, social media, the open day, and the volunteer program. So they're four like key areas where there's a lot of touch points with a lot of different people. Now, if we look at the first two, email. So if you've started to collect a bit of a database, either from inquiries or the community, don't be and sending. So there's I don't know if you guys know this or not, but there's a program called MailChimp, right? Right, perfect. So like it's so easy to use and to be communicating to that database. So don't be scared. People always talk about being scared to over communicate. You know what? Who cares? Right? Like I always say, people go, I get spammed by this brand and that brand. So does everyone know Kogan, the brand Kogan? I must get like 5 emails a week from them, right? A day, right? Depending on how much he's obviously bought a lot from them, right?
Then when you need something.
Exact, and that was my next point, right? So you think of them when you want something that's a bit cheaper or however they position themselves in your mind, that's what they do. So you guys, you're not Kogan, but it's the same thing. It's about just being top of mind. Same with the second one point that I just wrote down, social. Social is free for you to do, right? Now you're handy, obviously, with, I'm putting more workload on you, but you're handy with like design and stuff.
I can't wait.
Right? So like it's free to do. So don't be scared to over communicate. And there's so many things that you can be talking about. The facility, like there's so many stories that you can tell, even before you're even open. You open officially next week. There's so many things that you can be talking about on a regular basis. So like the more the better, right? the more you put out there, the more people are going to see you. So that third point I was talking about was that consistency of doing it regularly, right? So if you can do it, and maybe someone's helping Micheline, I don't know, but if you can do it as regularly as possible, people are going to see you. And then and you probably know this, Micheline, but you can like boost posts and promote them a bit more, right? So there's so many opportunities to be able to do that, to push to the community and really tailor that boosting to an audience, to a local area, to like really narrow in on it, right? Because remember, your audience isn't the end resident, it's their children, it's their family, it's their grandchildren, right? So you want all of that audience to be seeing it. So that's another easy one.
Can I ask you, is TikTok a good platform for marketing?
Look, I would say that any platform, it doesn't matter, just over communicate it. It all comes back to time, right? So I look at 4 key pain points when it comes to small organisations. So there's time, money, energy, and skills. So you have a small team, so time is of the essence. So use it effectively. Don't try and saturate. Do what is manageable and what is doable based on the limited time that you have. Same with energy. Like there's only so many hours in the day. Use it as effectively as possible. What was the other one? Money. So a lot of that stuff is free. It's just the time invested in it, and the fourth one is skills, to be actually physically able to post it or design in MailChimp, whatever. You sound pretty savvy. Watch a few YouTube videos, you'll figure it out, right? So I think those 4 things can be pain points that can be overcome based on the small team that you have. And then we've got the open day and the volunteers. So if we look at those 4 things, email, social, open day, volunteers, we spoke about having that key positioning message, and then what are those 4 or 5 sub-messages. So make sure across those 4 activities that you're being consistent and hammering it over and over again, the same messages over and over again, so people know what it is that this centre does and why it is different, and why people should, because the other competitor is not just the other facilities, it's keeping them at home. That's a competitor too, right? It's doing nothing versus actually doing something and having them to become a resident. So that's the other competitor in my eyes. Do you agree with that?
I think that's the biggest competitor.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So what are those key messages to get people, and really simple messages for people to think, what is the alternative? Like, do you want it to look like this? Because that is not a good look if they stay at home, versus do you want a decent life and them being looked after? Are we all agree on that? I think so. All right, if we talk about, so from a marketing perspective now, are we doing much? I know Lauren's doing some like once a week social stuff with you. Is there anything else that you guys are doing internally at the moment?
Aside from talking to social workers
Yeah.
and reaching out to other entities across.
So I think what you should do, and I'm not going to say who should do it within the team, but maybe just create, like, organisations overcomplicate stuff, right? Keep it really simple. Create just a spreadsheet and say, okay, what are the things that we're going to do for the next till Christmas, right? So October, November, December, and maybe break it down by weeks and say, okay, in this week we're going to do every week we're going to do 2 social media posts. I'm just making the number up, right? Every fortnight we're going to do the email. What date are we doing the open day? What days are we going to communicate the volunteer program? And have just a bit of a calendar, so you're all kind of aligned, or whoever as part of the team needs to be aware of that, and all aligned and go, okay, the next 3 months or the next 6 months, here's the stuff that we want to do. So you've got it, because again, energy, right? It's overwhelming. If you at least got it down on a document, you can see it in paper, really simple columns, don't overcomplicate it. So at least you're all on the same page in terms of the amount of activity. So rather than doing it, because we all get busy, rather than doing it in an ad hoc way, you've got a bit of a plan and a structure that you can sit to, and just having that plan and be able to looking at it just kind of like relieves a bit of that stress. You go, okay, I know what I've got on this week or this month or whatever. So keeping it really simple. There was something else I was going to say. Oh, open day. So what is that? You've got an open day coming up soon, do you? Another one? No?
Open day for residents coming, yes, 23rd.
Oh, for residents that are coming. Okay. Yeah.
So
And do you do an open day for potential residents?
not anytime soon, because
Okay.
we've already done those.
Yep.
Now the focus is on the residents we do have on the wait list,
Mhm.
bring those in,
Mhm.
because again, this is a community that we're talking about, that
Yep.
will spread the word.
Yep.
And I'd rather spend energy focusing on people that come in, providing the level of care that we promise, and as you pointed out, we don't have a big team.
Yeah.
We have an endless pot of resources,
Mm.
all kind of resources. So the smart thing to go about it is to actually have the focus on people that I know care.
Mm.
And while we're still, of course, we're going to do social media posts that will happen once or twice a week.
Yep.
But aside from that, for the next 2 months, because run up to Christmas and New Year, is that again, like I said, people go away or people want to have their home.
Mm.
So we want to make sure that before then we get as many people in as we can, concentrate that energy here. So of course in the New Year we can have another open day perhaps in February, March.
Yep.
And that way we're a bit more settled. Everybody here already has experienced the care.
Mm.
When people do come in for the open day, they will talk to residents, they'll talk to families.
Absolutely.
So there's opportunity for them to actually express how they feel and find the care.
Yep.
And the experience with the environment and that. So there's more data in that sense.
Absolutely.
To be able to, because at the moment people are just taking our word for it. Come and care.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we've got nothing.
Yeah. No evidence.
No,
Yeah.
showcase. The
Yeah.
resident is our showcase.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
for me, it's actions speak louder than words.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. And like I was just thinking about what's coming up. So you're going to have some. How many residents do you reckon you'll have in by, like the 1st of December?
Again, that number is fluid because
Yeah. Okay.
we're starting with probably 17, 20 on our list.
Yeah.
It could expand to 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And it's not
And
also
like-
cancellation. By the time
course.
they ready to come in,
Mm.
you know, Sharon.
Yeah.
Or people might pass away.
Or
Who knows?
pass or
Sure.
or
Yeah.
they can't wait transfer and they already settle.
Yeah. And now think about all the social stuff you could do around Christmas as well. Like I'm assuming, like based on care centres that my grandparents were in, they always did things for the residents at Christmas time. So like there's so many like good stories to show. Because again, like Christmas is a big part of Christian life, right? So if they think that, you know, they're not being looked after at that time or enjoying that period of time within their lives. And I think like even that you're not open yet, but I think it's exciting to do some posts this week, like the anticipation of opening up next week's, like team photos, like all that stuff. I think don't wait, just start. Thanks guys.